Whenever we think of the word monster or kaiju, we think about power, fearsomeness, monsters that are so large that they could level cities, or monsters that are so ferocious that they can drive fear into anyone who beholds them. But the one trait that makes kaiju stand out and makes them the ultimate badasses is that of aggression. Here are the top 5 aggressive kaiju in the monsterverse. Let's start with the lower end of the list. Speaking of aggressive kaiju, let's talk about the male Muto. The reason why the male Muto is on the lower end of the list is because he's only aggressive when he has to be. In Godzilla 2014, where the Mutos made their debut, we got to see the male Muto in all his glory. And despite being much smaller than the female, he really packed a punch. The amount of aggression that this creature actually possessed was very surprising, considering how much smaller he was than his opponent onto which he was displaying his aggression. The male Muto never lets anything stand in his way, and actually he deserves the award for the best dad of the year, because when it comes to protecting his children, there's nothing that this male Muto won't do and nobody that he won't fight. This next contender definitely deserves a spot because of the fight it put up against King Kong, the Meyer Squid from Kong Skull Island. This 110-foot long cephalopod deserves a spot because he is willing to bring down a creature twice his size and possibly 4 times his weight. It goes without saying that Kong is much more dense, and even after Kong was putting up a fight against this massive creature, it still was adamant at holding on and taking on the king of Skull Island himself. This cross between an octopus and a squid is an ambush predator that will lurk in the waters and literally attack any unsuspecting prey. Doesn't matter how big it is or what it is. And it's been shown to be very determined even when a dangerous prey is fighting. It literally made the decision to fight to its death to try and bring down Kong, which makes it one of the most aggressive creatures. Where normal creatures would cut their losses, this guy refuses to lose. Next up is Godzilla. Honestly, we had a hard time placing Godzilla with the next contender based on their ranking of aggression. Godzilla is very aggressive, but he is when he needs to be. He's mainly fiercely territorial and very bullish, and will take on fights with larger creatures. However, when he's not fighting other kaiju, he is pretty chill. He mostly keeps to himself in the ocean, or probably alongside any family members that he might have in the Hollow Earth, the latter just being a theory. He will mercilessly attack any other kaiju that's a threat to him, but as we've seen in King of the Monsters, for much smaller creatures, or creatures that don't seem to directly be threatening him, he doesn't seem to pay them much attention. He may intimidate them, but he doesn't really ever attack, which is why he wasn't ranked higher, but this next contender takes that spot. That contender is Rodan. The reason Rodan is said to be very aggressive, and he's especially dangerous because of this, is because he will attack anything. We've seen him in King of the Monsters giving chase to the jets. He will fight larger kaiju, he'll fight kaiju equal in size, and he will target much smaller animals. Looking at Rodan's personality, he seems to kill for the fun of it. Whereas Serizawa was able to touch Godzilla, and he probably would have been able to if Godzilla had been in full health and just relaxing. Nobody would dare get close to the devil. The name for him in the monsterverse by the locals is actually Fire Demon. Not only will he attack things near to him, but he will also seek out things just to destroy them. Even when surprised by a larger creature such as Ghidorah, Rodan fought him head-on. Near the end of King of the Monsters, Rodan was even prepared to challenge the Alpha Godzilla. Chances are, if he wasn't injured, he probably would have fought Godzilla. Chances are the reason he backed down is because he saw Godzilla annihilate Ghidorah. But the main reason why he wins this spot of being one of the top aggressive kaiju in the monsterverse is because Rodan is willing to attack everything. Godzilla, at least for the most part, leaves the humans alone. Rodan does not care how small you are. As a matter of fact, if you're small, you're especially attractive. It's just one more reason for him to pursue you and have you for a tasty snack, even though he necessarily doesn't need to eat humans for food. If the Meyer Squid had left its territory and went on land, or actually pursued its prey instead of just ambushing them, it probably would have taken the spot. The kaiju that deserves the #1 spot in aggression is the skull crawler.
Shit.
The skull crawler definitely deserves the #1 spot for the most aggressive kaiju in the monsterverse, at least so far. And the reason why they win this spot is not even totally fair, because they can't help being this way. Skull crawlers are subterranean pack-hunting predators that are always hungry because of their heightened metabolisms. Not only is it super active, but it literally is in a state of being hangry, or angry because you're hungry. Skull crawlers are akin to land piranhas. Because of their constant need for food, they will desperately take on anything that they can get their jaws on, their tails around, and their claws sunken into. They too will fight to their death, but they're a lot more intelligent, especially the larger they get. They are seen as super aggressive because they literally will eat anything, from very large creatures twice their size, to picking off creatures as small as humans. According to their plate, they never discriminate. Whereas Rodan will observe his prey or anything that is around him, the skull crawlers lack that kind of reservation. They will bite first and ask questions later. Unless, of course, they suspect you of having a bomb on you. The larger skull crawlers do have more experience, and thus more intelligence in their fighting style. These aggressive creatures are said to have been the responsible party for why King Kong's kind became extinct. Like zombies, when they came up from the depths of the earth, they killed and fed on everything. While these land piranhas roam the earth, no one and nothing is safe. Thanks for watching. This has been Altiori. You ask, we answer.